Hello and welcome back to the TankObservers podcast. My name's Jackson McCarty, as always, alongside my co-host Chris Spar. And Chris, what are we doing today?
Well, today we are buying and selling receivers like, we did the past two times.
I must say, if you haven't figured out the format yet, go back and watch those and you'll get a basic grasp of what we're doing. But we've switched it up a little bit. Rather than just particular prospects, we've tried to take a specific turn about it, a specific question to them. For example, our first one today is Jamar Chase still the best receiver in this class? What do you think, Topher?
Oh, you're asking me?
Yeah.
Well, what I wrote down was who's to say, which basically means no. So he's probably not. He could be, but yes, who's to say? I certainly shouldn't, but I'm going to. So it really just depends on the quality of his utilization. Who's getting, I was about to take a sip, but I changed my mind. Who's getting Jamar Chase has a lot to do with what Jamar Chase is going to do. Now, as a courtesy, I have given each receiver we're discussing a ceiling and a floor because my specialty is the NFL, not so much the draft. That is my friend here. So I'm saying his floor is Tyler Boyd. I'm saying that's the worst he's going to be. He's a very talented guy. He's faster than Tyler Boyd. I think he's going to play just as well. As the ceiling, he's definitely got Amari Cooper caliber talent. Amari Cooper plus. He could be even better if he really gets used right. That's the biggest thing here. It's not a matter of talent. It's a matter of who's getting him. What are they going to do with him?
In a very similar perspective, you can even look at Amari Cooper as what that usage does for you because he went from Oakland and being not one of the
Pro Bowl.
Yeah, not being one of the best receivers in the league. And now you could argue he is in that top 10 category. And with receivers like himself and Jamar Chase, a lot of how they're being utilized is so crucial to what they are. I am personally selling. I don't think he's the wide receiver one of this class. And we'll get to talk about who that is later. I don't want to give it away yet. But opting out has not made my heart grow fonder. I was never a huge Jamar Chase guy. Point blank, I liked his tape. I found myself paying more attention to Justin Jefferson last year while I was watching those games, and that seemed to have worked out for the Vikings. But
1-5.
Hey, well, you've got at least a piece. But I do really enjoy his skill set, and I think he could be a wide receiver one in the NFL. But there's somebody who I've got my eye on in this class that takes it away from me. I have some pretty clear questions about his route running. That's a bit shaky to me personally. I think he's good at finding space to get open rather than making it. He's more of a magnet to the open field rather than creating his own separation. But I think he will go first. I don't think he more or less deserves to. And that does sound a bit mean, but
it's so mean.
But that's not how I mean it. It's just I think there are better candidates here.
All right.
Personally.
Oh.
Yeah, moving on to his LSU teammate, Terrace Marshall, somebody who neither one of us really gave a second thought to last year. Is he becoming a wide receiver one?
Well, I wrote word for word, I guess I'll buy. I didn't see much last year, but this year he seems to, be loving this number one role now that Jamar Chase is gone. I see him he has the potential to be another like Vincent Jackson type, a number one receiver. He's got that look to him. 6'4", 200 pounds. He's a big boy.
Very.
So, he could, I don't know if he's a 1. He could be a 1. Maybe. It's another thing. He has that number one size, but I could see him just being another deep threat for, downfield passes or red zone probabilities. Devin Funchess is my floor for him.
A goal line bully.
Probably is already better than Devin Funchess, but who's to say?
Who's to say? Going back,
who's to say?
Going back a pick. Who's to say? Well, I initially wrote by, but I'm thinking about it a bit. I like him more in the Corey Davis role.
Corey Davis role? Corey Davis.
Well, yeah. But like A.J. Brown.
He was supposed to be.
A.J. Brown is the wide receiver one there. There's no question about it. I think Terrace Marshall could end up being a phenomenal receiver as the 2 in a 1-2 punch.
Ooh, a sidekick.
Exactly. And there's nothing wrong with being a sidekick. Robin still makes money. but I don't think that he's quite broken that yet. He is in the running for Blitnikoff, but I just have some questions about his ability to control an offense, even though he has done a great job of making Miles Brennan look. He really doesn't look serviceable. He's made some of Miles Brennan's throws look serviceable because he's already got 424 yards and he's already got 7 touchdowns. So while I do like him as a player, I like him more as a sidekick.
He's no Julio.
He's not. No, absolutely not. And he shouldn't be achieving to be Julio.
He's more like, he's not necessarily Chargers Vincent Jackson. Maybe Tampa Vincent Jackson.
Kind of, yeah. Yeah, I can see that.
Tampa Vincent Jackson. I don't know if we're gonna put him at that high caliber Pro Bowl receiver type that
right, but
he was.
Tampa Vincent Jackson, he was becoming less of Batman and more of Robin.
Exactly. Once Mike Evans got there, he was like, "Oh, I can chill."
He's like, "Yeah, we're gonna hang out.
I don't have to go deep anymore. We're gonna make this giant do it." Cool. That was a Twin Towers for the ages though, when they were both there.
Yeah, it's just one of those things where he is very talented, but I think he's better off being the second option here.
It's not a bad thing.
Since we just talked about some teammates, let's go to another pair of them. We are now going to figure out between the two of us who's better, Devonta Smith or Jalen Waddle. You want me to start off with this one?
Take it away, sir.
All right. I want to take you to an alternate reality where Henry Ruggs is actually the better receiver for Bama rather than Jerry Jeudy, and he just got picked above it. Jalen Waddle reminds me of a better Henry Ruggs, where Devonta Smith reminds me of a weaker Jerry Jeudy. It's because their traits are similar, and Jalen Waddle has the automatic, I don't want to say guarantee, there's going to be more value for him in the league regardless of whether or not he's a good receiver because he is so talented in punt and kick returns. He is lightning quick. We've seen him break loose, and he's got a remarkable amount of speed and strength, something that I don't think Devonta Smith has enough of. He's a very thin frame, and that scares me a bit, especially when they're receivers, because if you're going to have height, or at least more height, and that be a big dictation of how good of a receiver you are, you've got to at least be able to fight for some jump balls.
I guess I can see where you're coming from.
Right.
But hear me out.
Okay. Hearing.
I'm buying strong on Smith
Whew.
because I think he has a lot more one receiver potential. Not necessarily is he a more gifted receiver, but he has a better ceiling and I think just a higher ability to be a one.
Okay.
Rather than be a 2 or a deep threat like I could see Jalen Waddle becoming. Because I don't see Jalen Waddle being one of those speedsters like a Tyreek Hill. I see him being more of a complementary, maybe a more improved version of Marquise Goodwin, a more polished Goodwin.
Okay, yeah, I can
But
understand
Smith, I'm saying at the very least he's going to be a Golden Tate caliber receiver. That's my floor. I could see him being a Golden Tate, a really big yak guy, a one out of the slot like Juice was when he was still with the Dolphins.
That's an extremely high floor.
It is a high floor. And his ceiling, I'm saying he's a tall, maybe a little lanky too, Steve Smith. That's high praise, but that's where I'm throwing down. I will die on that hill.
Tall Steve,
he has great habits. For one thing, he is not afraid to lower his shoulder despite having his thin frame.
Which that's going to get him snapped in the league.
He's saved his quarterback from more interceptions than I did. I watched his highlights, and all he does is dive in front of balls that got thrown to corners.
Yeah.
He's really good at coming back from the ball. He has excellent habits.
He has great hands, and his route running is a bit more refined than Waddle's is. But Waddle has that big play potential. He has that ability to just, zoom. As soon as it touches his hands, gone.
Zoom, zoom.
Exactly. Zoom, zoom. And I don't know. I feel pretty firm on Waddle, but I can at least see the appeals from Devonta Smith here. Shifting our focus from Waddle, who is a very fast receiver, to just as fast, if not faster guy here. Could Rondale Moore become wide receiver 1 after opting back in? What do you think?
I'm all in on that. Rondell Moore's a machine. He scares me.
At
He
5'9".
he's 5'9", he is gritty, he has crazy playmaking potential. He goes out of everywhere, the slot, the outside. He's a running back for some reason. He just leaves the backfield and they hand it off to him. I don't know. I think Purdue's confused. But he's undersized and still a deep threat because he just roasts down the sideline.
Yeah. Just absolute beast.
Now I'm gonna open with my ceiling.
Okay.
Because I don't want people to think I'm disrespecting this young man. Because I'm not sure if he's looked yet.
No, I've seen it, and I kind of felt it was coming, your floor.
That's why I've decided to open with my ceiling.
Go ahead.
Because this guy has a wide range, mainly because I don't know what his size is going to mean for him when he hits the NFL.
Fair enough.
I'm a little worried about that because not all undersized receivers can pull it off, and he's 5'9". So my ceiling is Antonio Brown. He could easily be a monster. If he enters the league in the right situation, he could pull it off and become a great for this time period.
Yeah.
Or he won't. And my floor is a short Cordarrelle Patterson. Because he's super athletic. I don't know. I've never actually seen kick return. Does he do kick return?
Not much, if I remember correctly.
I don't care. Have you seen him run? He could if he wanted to. I'm just saying he has. That's his floor, and it's just because not all short guys that are great work out. Antonio Brown was picked in the 6th round. He was a short guy that they weren't expecting to work out.
Central Michigan.
So a short guy that they're expecting to work out could easily fall. Like Cordarrelle Patterson was a 1st-round pick. As sad as that was.
Your love for Cordarrelle does know no bounds, though.
It does know no bounds. That's why I love Rondell.
If you can tell in the video, the Tennessee jersey behind us is Cordarrelle's, and that is Topher's very own. But
It is.
I just don't. I do like the AB thing. I know a lot of people might get a bit worked up with that one because he is such a talented receiver.
One of the best receivers of the decade.
Exactly.
Yes.
And that speaks levels onto what we're seeing when we watch Rondell Moore. But to go back to the question, could Rondell Moore become a wide receiver 1 after opting back in? I'd argue he already is. He is my personal favorite. Whenever I've watched the tape, the only 2 things that I saw that I really wasn't high on, obviously his height you can't fix that, but it does hold him back a little bit, and it keeps him from being a jump ball threat. Everything outside of that, one of the fastest in the class. One of the better route runners in the class, has solid hands. And whenever he was asked to block, he is shockingly good. He gets underneath corners, like lanky corners.
Yeah, it gets down.
Yeah, and just bosses them around and completely redirects where they want to go. So, watching all of that and seeing what he's put into his game and how much talent he actually does have, I'd argue he's already better than Jamar Chase. And I'd say that if he was 2-3 inches taller, I don't think it'd be anywhere near a question because you tend to look at that and negate it a bit and say, well, probably designated to the slot. No, Rondell Moore is going to punish corners in the NFL. High motor players tend to stick in the NFL.
That's true.
Rondell Moore.
Jakeem Grant.
Exactly. Even if you're not a phenomenal player, you stick in the NFL because you're showing that you're willing to work hard and put everything on the field. Rondell Moore, every single play, doesn't matter if it's a run, if it's a pass not designated towards him, he is running it like it's going to win him the game. And it's just something that is absolutely phenomenal to watch on tape, and that really jumps out to me.
In other words, he's a beast.
Yes, I'm huge buy on Rondell Moore.
Big buy.
All right, for the 5th and final question, not necessarily a buy-sell here, but what receivers are you buying? Or the one particular receiver that's maybe not really a 1st-round prospect as of yet that could sneak into the 1st round. You want to start this one off or you want to kick it to me?
Why not? I'll take it.
Go for it.
Chris Olave out of Ohio State.
Very good pick.
I know, right? Thanks. He has really, really good field awareness.
Yeah.
He always gets his feet down. It is nuts.
Yeah.
He knows where his feet are. He places them down. He doesn't even have to be looking down. He just has that awareness. He knows when he's by the sideline. catches it feet down, or at least 1 foot. I think all receivers should at least try to get both feet down.
Yeah, just for NFL awareness.
Shows character. And he's just really good at finding open space. A lot like Jamar Chase, except he can actually run routes. So for my floor on Chris Olave, I am asking you all to look back in time to when Greg Jennings was on the Vikings and made everyone upset because they were like, "Oh, you should have retired." So that Greg Jennings is my floor. So useful, but
not the tier it used to be.
Useful, but like still bad. And his ceiling is Jarvis Landry, and I know it's not the highest ceiling, but it's a matter of, are you going to produce? Are you going to get 100 catches a season? It depends. Are you going to the Dolphins? Or are you going to be that side character, something like an Olabisi Johnson?
Yeah, and Jarvis Landry is one of the most slept-on receivers in the league.
He's so good.
He is so efficient, and his team playingness. I don't really guess that's a.
It's not. He's a team player.
Yeah.
He does what he can do to help the team. If he doesn't get 10 catches in a game, he says, "Okay, I guess my receivers got 10 catches." Or when Ryan Tannehill was still there, they completed 9 a game, and they all went to him.
His willingness to take the sidekick role speaks levels, because he could be a wide receiver 1 on a lot of NFL rosters.
Absolutely.
On a lot of NFL. I can think of at least 10 off the top of my head.
It's not hard.
No. And just the fact that he is like, you know what, I'm going to do what's better for my team. I'm going to hang out here, try to win some games, which Cleveland is finally doing.
Took them long enough.
Exactly. He's such a crucial piece to that offense that it really does speak to how talented Chris Olave could be.
It's exactly what I was going for. He just said it better.
Well, to steal your thunder here, I'm going to go with Sage Surratt. And I know this opening statement's going to sound a bit weird, but stick with me. Jamie Newman's transfer, despite the fact that Surratt is sitting out, made Surratt look better. Because Jamie Newman went to Georgia, and from the outside looking in, it looks like he lost his starting gig to Stetson Bennett and JT Daniels potentially, so he opted out. He said, you know what, I'm going to go to the league. That alone proves just how crucial Sage Surratt was to making Jamie Newman look like an SEC caliber transfer.
I didn't ever think of it that way, but like, I'm in.
Yeah, it's one of those things where you look at the pieces around them. Wake Forest is not an especially talented team.
No, not particularly. But
Jamie Newman and Sage Surratt were making it work last year. Now that Jamie Newman does not have Sage Surratt, he's the third stringer for Georgia.
That surprised me a lot. I thought Jamie Newman was going to be the starter on Georgia. I got really excited about it too because I love Georgia QBs.
Yeah, he's electric. He's just not. He's not what he could be without Surratt, and that speaks levels not only to Surratt's talent, but the lack of wide receiver 1 abilities that Wake Forest apparently had.
I thought it would have been cool if Surratt also went to Georgia, but I didn't.
The whole Wake Forest squad transfer into the
That
SEC.
would have been so cool. Imagine they're like, hey, let's just like go to a better college team.
Yeah, let's just
go get more famous.
Let's just take our talents to
Why
South
not?
Beach.
Yeah,
Is basically what's happening there. But to speak on the actual player, he is obviously sitting out for COVID, but whenever he's in team-specific workouts, because I don't think he's a combine guy. I don't think he's got that blistering speed. Whenever he's working out with teams, I think that will be his bread and butter. When they get to see him running routes against receivers, doing his jump ball thing, he's prototypically sized. He's at 6'2", I believe, and in and around 220-ish. Yeah, and he is just so talented to watch on the field. It won't jump out in his measurables, but he is a very, very good receiver that I wouldn't be surprised to see in the first round. So, yeah.
I don't have anything to add. I was just also looking into the camera.
Well, if you don't have anything else to add, that will be the end of the show today. So, let's call it quits on that one. We will be back very soon. As always, my name's Jackson McCarty.
Chris Barr.
We'll see you guys next time.